Hello, everyone. Thank you. That was delightful. Welcome. I'm going to put my water bottle down. Like a wandering Bedouin. Welcome to Firm. We are so excited for everyone to be here. My name is Namisha. I am the IU School of Medicine Firm Planning Committee Chair. And you'll see many of us that have these little stickers on our shirts that state committee. Well, remember to thank those people, ask them if you have any questions. We're available to help all day, and we are so excited that everyone is here. So I'm just going to do some logistics. Oh, there we go. First, this is from the IU School of Medicine Wellness Coalition. On February 14th, they're having small group discussions on mental health and just anything that anyone needs help dealing with, but just want a place to have a discussion with a group of like-minded people who are willing to listen. So that's on February 14th from 12 to 1 in the library in room 302 for IU students. Sorry, this applies to half of you, but they wanted us to advertise that at an audience that would be amenable to it. Additionally, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors. This conference every year is put on due to the generosity of all of these sponsors, many departments at IU, Marian University, Eskenazi Health, Community Health Network, and you can see all of them there. And we really appreciate everything they do to help us put on this conference, get all of the swag and the free food, and just allow us to come together and work on a way to fight burnout. Ooh. For those of you who are physicians, and are eligible to earn CME, you can earn up to 4.75 AMA PRA Category 1 credits for this conference. If you would like to get CME credits, make sure to pick up, whenever you leave the conference, make sure to pick up a form from the registration table, write your name, and then check off the sessions that you attended, and we'll turn it in and get everything taken care of for you, okay? And I am the person to ask if you have any questions on that. You are already here, but if you have any questions about parking or need a parking pass, for those who signed up early enough to get a parking pass, stop by the registration desk and pick that up after you leave if you have not picked it up already. And additionally, we're having a post-conference mixer with many of the speakers and all the other attendees. So please join us right after the conference at Books and Brews on Mass Ave. There should be about 70 or 80 people who signed up, so it should be a good group of people just to continue the discussion in an informal atmosphere. And lastly, we are on social media. So we have an Instagram, a Twitter, and a Facebook account. So please follow us and use the hashtags Culturing Change, our conference theme this year, or IndieFirm 2019 for any photos or anything that you tag, because we love to share this with the rest of the world. And that is it. So I'm going to do a brief introduction on what FIRM is. Should have done that like 2 minutes ago. But FIRM stands for Finding Inspiration and Resilience in Medicine. It is a conference that was founded 5 years ago. This is our 6th conference by Dr. Gunderman's Leadership in Medicine class. And we've kept it going since with the goal of finding burnout and inspiring physicians to be more resilient and be more inspired with the work that they do. So Dr. Gunderman's going to come up and give a brief introduction into FIRM.
Good morning. It's great to see you here. What a happy day. Dreary outside, but bright sunshine here in Emerson 304 and throughout the rest of the day in a number of medical school campuses. As Namisha said, FIRM really was born in 2014. I can picture the moment of its birth. You may already have children. You may have children in the near future. I guess I have 4 biological children, but among my favorite children, at least that I was involved in the birth, maybe as a midwife more than the person giving birth, was in Rock Conference Room C, Riley Outpatient Center Conference Room C. There were 10 students in a course called Leadership in Medicine in early October of 2014 in that room. And they were trying to come up with a project that would be of benefit to medical students, but also more broadly to the profession of medicine and health professionals in general. And FRIM was born, Finding Resilience and Inspiration in Medicine. And a little further reflection led to a slight change in the acronym, and now we have FIRM. And I think the single medical student, to my knowledge, who played the greatest role in both inspiring FIRM as an idea and developing it as a program is someone who I have with me 24/7, 365, at least in memory. You wouldn't know it, but you'll never see me without this green wristband. And this green wristband has a phrase that Namisha knows particularly well.
Tell me everything. How can I help?
Yeah, this wristband says, "Tell me everything. How can I help?" This was the signature phrase of a fourth-year medical student here at IU who did extraordinary things. Despite being a very academically capable, highly successful medical student, he was able to find time to tutor many underclassmen who were struggling in medical school. He would do bizarre things like bring bagels and coffee to morning rounds of services that he wasn't even a part of. You know, he'd show up on the general medicine B team at Eskenazi Hospital in the morning with coffee and bagels. Incredible. He really wanted to hear your story. He really wanted you to tell him everything. And he really wanted to know how he could help. And the reason I wear a wristband on my right wrist at all times, bearing not only the phrase, "Tell me everything, how can I help?" but also his name on the inside, is because about 2 months after he graduated from medical school, he died. He's no longer with us. He's somebody who believed very deeply in the privilege of entering the profession of medicine, having the opportunity to learn in depth about the human organism, how it's structured, how it functions, what can go wrong with it, what we can do to diagnose and treat those injuries and diseases. He's somebody who cared deeply about his fellow physicians and really went out of his way not only to excel personally, but to make a difference in the lives of his colleagues. And he's no longer with us. And yet, on the other hand, I think he is with us. I'm not going to tell you his name, but there's one person who you can't see today, who you won't hear from today in the conventional sense. But I believe in a profound sense his spirit is with us and rejoicing in what we're about to experience over the course of today. So I'm delighted to welcome you to this adventure. I hope you'll find it informative, uplifting, collegial, inspirational. But just know that one of us, somebody who once sat perhaps in the very seat you now occupy, isn't able to be with us today. And I hope the knowledge of that inspires each of us to be a little bit more present, a little bit more attentive, and a little bit more caring toward ourselves and each other as the day progresses. So again, thank you so much for being a part of this dream that lives on today. And I hope to have a chance to meet many of you over the course of the day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Gunderman. I am Lindsay Renz. I am the Vice Chair from Marion on the Planning Committee, and I'm here to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Laurel Fick. She is a human. By day, she's an internal medicine physician and director of the transitional year residency at St. Vincent Hospital in Indianapolis, and is the department's unofficial chief wellness officer. Dr. Fick completed her residency and chief residency in internal medicine at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston and grew up in a tiny town without stoplights in southern Illinois. She spends her evenings and weekends unabashedly convincing her young, naive children that she is a superhero and cleaning up after her monosyllabic pets, Buck and Todd, in order of preference. Between these moments, she loves to read about almost anything, chase her husband in family Fitbit step challenges, and pretend she has a life all figured out. Her deep passion, now that she's mastered throwing a perfect spiral in football, lies in making the world a better place by encouraging others to be the best versions of themselves. So without further ado, please help me welcome our keynote speaker, Dr. Fick.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you all for letting me come and speak with you today. Let me see if I can find my presentation. Don't look, I don't want to give any surprises away. I'm going to be a wanderer. I'm not comfortable sitting in one place, but I'm going to read my first introductory slide just because I don't want to mess it up because I worked really hard on it. Just in time for my mom to say, "Don't say it like that." And I was like, "Oh, Mom." It never ends, people. Before I speak, I want to know who I have in the audience. I know most of you are students. How many of you are first-year medical students? Wow, all right. Second years? Shouldn't you be studying? Board's coming up? Just kidding. I'm glad you're here. Third years? Hey, look at that. Fourth years? Almost done. Yes, they're up on the balcony looking down on you all like this. Faculty? Residents? No residents. Oh, so sad. They're working. Other people I didn't specify. Any undergrads? We got another people. Undergrads. All right. This is great. All right. So I've got this on. I'm going to read this slide because I don't want to mess it up because I think this sets some tone. And I'm clearly a very informal, casual person. So this is really just going to be a conversation. All right. I'm not here to woo you with some amazing research that I've done. I'm just a normal human being here to talk to you about normal stuff, being like a doctor and alive, basically. So here it goes. This is the only time I'm going to read to you, hopefully. Well, this is actually, that's not true. There's one other time. Thank you for the invitation to speak at Firm 2019. I think this is my third or fourth time speaking at Firm, but never as the keynote speaker, which means that I've made it. I am a big deal. This is really an honor because I think this is an incredible conference and I'm so glad to be a part of it. I'm Laurel Fick. I'm 39 years old. I'm actually 39. I'm not like 42 who's like, I'm 39 for the third time. I'm actually 39. I just had my birthday. I'm an internist. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 2 girls. Anna's 6, Caroline's 4. I buy most of my clothes at Costco and Kohl's, for real. These came from Stitch Fix, but they're about 2 years old. Everything else I get at Costco, they have great clothes, actually, and they're very reasonably priced. Sarcasm is my love language, just so you're aware, in case you're worried I don't like you. I like you. I'm just super sarcastic. I've been a nail biter since I was 3. I'm really embarrassed about that, and I hate it, but I figure it's better than heroin. So we all have our coping skills. I bite my nails. I used to beat myself up about it, guys. It is what it is. All right? Can we all just agree to move on? Okay, perfect. That's the part my mom wanted me to leave out, and I'm like, no, see, it's real. I'm a real person. I don't love internal medicine. Uh-oh, I'm an internist. I don't love internal medicine. And it's not like I had to scramble into medicine. I was an average medical student. I had good board scores. I actually chose internal medicine. I always regret that choice right about times like this, but it ended up working out. I actually was going to do urology, believe it or not, and then I realized I like scrotums, but not all day, every day, all right? I like my scrotums in bites, and see, I'm going off script. I'm like Trump at the State of the Union last night. I didn't intend to just say that. It just came out, okay? I just said scrotum in a keynote speech. That's right, people. Back to business. I like internal medicine fine. I chose it because I wanted to be a teacher and a human, a wife and a mom and travel the world and have a life. And so I was like, medicine's all right. I can probably make something work with medicine. And guess what? It's worked out. I call it actually, I don't. I stole this from one of my bosses up at St. V's. He calls internal medicine the pluripotent stem cell of medicine. You know, from internal medicine, you can do lots of things and kind of find where you fit. And it's worked out for me. I'm a good doctor, but I've made mistakes. And some of those have actually hurt patients, which I hate, but it is true and part of the experience of being a doctor. I like craft beer. I take an SSRI. I take Prozac. I've been on it for about 2 years, 3 years. And I'm a terrible dancer. I'm a kind person and a good human who's motivated by teaching people to take good care of others. I'm not going to talk about burnout. Does that make you all nervous? You're all like, oh, it's me. I'm kind of burned out on burnout. Anybody with me? I'm tired of burnout. Can we move past burnout and start talking about like well-being? That's where I'm looking. I'm being forward thinking. This is optimism, people. I'm going to talk about transforming ourselves and subsequently medicine towards a culture of well-being. That's my focus today. See, wasn't that worth reading off of there? From here on, I'm kind of going to go off script, and we're just going to talk about it, because I've been trying to memorize these slides and what I want to say and stories and whatever and being cutesy and funny, but really I just want to talk to you. Does this slide advancer work? Anybody know? One way to find out. And now I'm going to move away because I think I have this on. Can you guys hear me if I move over here like this? Okay, disclosures. I've always wanted to be one of those people that's like, I am disclosing the fact that I work for Big Pharma and Russia and I don't have anything like that. I'm just like a normal person. I may actually move over here a little bit. So I am no expert in physician well-being. I like to think that I am. I think that I know more than some people simply because I like troll everybody on Twitter, because there's some good stuff on Twitter when it comes to this type of thing. So I'm no expert. I am not famous enough yet to have my Twitter profile verified. I'm working on that. I'll let you know. Jen Gunter just got hers. If you guys ever follow Jen Gunter on Twitter, she's hilarious. She's a little bit of my role model, but just like 30%. Okay, and despite the fact that I have a good sense of humor and a normal BMI, I do not have it all figured out. It's important that I say this because when I was sitting in your seats and I'd look up there and there are these doctors and oh my gosh, she's married and she's got kids and she's a doctor and she's normal and she's skinny and whatever else. Dude, I'm a normal person. Stitch Fix, Kohl's, Costco, nail biting, normal human, okay? So don't think that I got it all figured out just because I'm up here with those two things. All right, so who is familiar with the concept of the word eudaimonia? Crickets. Awesome. Has anybody heard this word before? All right, got one nerd in the front. Anybody else? Okay. So I didn't know about this word till last year at the graduation of our internal medicine residents. And as it's a tradition at St. Vincent that each graduating resident chooses a faculty member to present them as like their graduation, and here's kind of their accomplishments, and here they are. So Brad Faucier was this internal medicine, family medicine combined 4-year program graduate. He was graduating, and Kurt Ward, who's our DIO, and at the time of when Brad started residency was the family medicine director, asked him during his interview, how will you know that you have been a success in life? What do you want to get out of your life? And he said, I want to achieve eudaimonia. And nobody knew what this word was. Dr. Ward told the story, and then of course I'm like, eudaimonia, that's a fascinating concept. It's a Greek word that really means human flourishing. It's not happiness. People try to translate it into, it's not happiness, but it's human flourishing. It's sort of the equivalent of becoming your best self, which is sort of a plus minus. In the shower today, see here I go off on the tangent. Shower today, I'm like, man, what if I could have been an Olympic tennis player, right? Had I played tennis from an early age, probably not, but maybe I would have. But you never know until you're exposed to something if you're actually meant to be that. But it means taking who you are and the accumulation of your genes in your environment and what you've experienced in your life and putting it to the best use and being a happy, content, well-adjusted, successful human being. This is eudaimonia. And I think that probably all of you in this room are searching for that. How can I best help the world using my gifts, my talents, my experiences, and transform it? And it also includes tragedy, sadness, failure, guilt, shame. It includes all that because all those are times where we actually grow. So it's not happy because it's not all happy, but it's just becoming the best version of our flourished selves. So how are we going to unpeel the onion? I'm not trying to make you cry. They're onions. We're going to start with some really scary words. The first one is scarcity. I'm a big fan of Brene Brown. I don't know if you guys have read any of her work, right? Man, you and I are like soulmates right now. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Scarcity is the feeling of not enough, which every one of you in this room has felt at some point. You may be feeling it right now. I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't read EKGs well enough. I don't do this enough. I don't do this enough. When I went to see my psychologist for the first time, when I was finally getting treatment for depression, she said, your mind has become very toxic. Every single thing in my mind was negativity towards myself. I'm not this enough. I'm not a good mom enough. I'm not a good doctor enough. I'm not a good this enough. This is scarcity. How many of you have felt like this at some point during your medical training? Right? When I started medical school, I didn't know how many chambers the heart had. I was a chemistry major. I was in a room full of like physiology majors, and all the engineers in the room are looking at me right now going, yep, been there, I know. It has 4. The atrium is my favorite, but it's got 4. So here's one of the realities, people. The opposite of scarcity is not abundance. So think about a scarcity of clean water. The opposite is not a plethora of clean water. The opposite is having enough clean water. You are enough. You are enough. You don't have to have an abundance to be enough. You're all sitting here. You're enough. Shame, another bad S word. Shame. This one's bad. I mean, when I say the word shame, I immediately start to have a physiologic response to things that I have done in my personal and professional life that caused harm to someone. Shame. Shame says, I didn't make a mistake, I'm bad. That's what shame does. Talk about shaming kids and how that can affect them long term. Shame is very, very toxic, and it's widely prevalent in medicine and in medical education. Just last month, there was an article published, which we're going to kind of go through in academic medicine, from a physician out in North Carolina who's a family medicine doctor, where he opens up about his shame experience when he was delivering a baby as a resident, and due to a vacuum delivery, he actually caused a very severe vaginal laceration for a patient. And he immediately went and felt shame and was in a dark room by himself, kind of dealing with the emotions of, I'm a bad doctor. I caused this to happen, not, I'm not experienced with vacuum deliveries. I'm still learning, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is kind of a schematic they put together with this article. So shame occurs when a person attributes a failure to reach a standard or ideal to something global and stable about themselves. So it's the I am bad. I'm a bad person, I'm a bad doctor, I'm a bad resident, I'm a bad student, I'm a bad daughter, I'm a bad mom, I'm a bad sister, I'm bad, versus I made a mistake, I can do better. And it can be caused by lots of events. Now these are specific to medical training, and you will probably all experience some of these. When I was an intern, I discharged a patient inadvertently with a femoral catheter in. He was a sickle cell patient, needed an exchange transfusion. It was my first day on service. He came out of the ICU, I saw him, he was walking around in his gown looking great, ready to go home, so we discharged him, and he came back 3 days later septic with a huge DVT because he still had his femoral central catheter, central line in. That was shameful. Like, I still feel bad about that. I feel bad about that. He was 21. He's got, you know, incredible, I'm sure he still has permanent disability from that. I feel bad about that. Answering questions wrong, we probably feel that one a lot. That's normal, right? If I ask you right now to name a bunch of rhythms on EKGs, you're probably not going to get them all right. It's okay. And then personal goals like not becoming HCF resident, not getting your fellowship, not getting into the specialty of your choice. It's okay. It's going to be okay. It can come for lots of different reasons. They actually, the way that they got this data was that they surveyed 12 volunteers, 12 internal medicine resident volunteers, and asked them to do a reflective writing piece about shame. A time where they felt shame, and then they actually interviewed them for 2 hours afterwards. I came up with some of these themes with you, which you guys can see. This is especially worse after you've been called out for like being on a remediation plan or having to, if you failed your boards, having to repeat your boards and all this kind of stuff. Then you really feel like the spotlight's on you. That's when shame gets really, really hard to breathe in. Shame is widely prevalent in medicine. And here's some of the reason. This will probably resonate with some of you. In medicine, we like to compare ourselves to others, right? Third year of medical school, pediatrics rotation. I hated peds. I think I was just kind of mildly depressed during peds anyway, but it was like either the kids were healthy and boring or super sick and so sad I couldn't deal with it. Like there was just no middle ground for me during that rotation. And by golly, here I am like trying to like show interest and get my good grades so I can get my good residency, meanwhile missing the whole point, which is learning how to take care of human beings. And Jen Pope walks in, she wants to do peds hemonc, right? So she's trying to like, I'm just assuming she's trying to show us all up. She walks in, she's brought like a bag of toys for the kids in the freaking peds rotation. So I'm like, I'm the suckiest person ever. How am I ever gonna compete with Jen Pope bringing her toys into this stupid thing? That was a ridiculous way to think about it. That's awesome that she brought that in for the kids, and she wasn't doing it to punish me. She was doing it to help the kids and maybe get a good grade herself. That's fine, she earned it. We focus on performance. We're perfectionists. Even if we're not perfectionists outwardly, we're all a little bit perfectionists inwardly. We have difficulty with subjective standards, and we have this incredible fear of judgment. And a lot of this is the pressure that we put on you in medicine. I'm a residency director. I know that you're all already thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to impress people to get in this residency, and blah, 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 and this right specialty, and got to suck up to the right people, and blah, 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 blah. It's ridiculous. Medical school should be about the journey, about learning how to take care of humans, not about the X's and the O's and the checks and the pluses and the minuses. It's insane. And then, of course, bad stuff can happen where we feel shame. So we're isolating, we disengage, because why even try? We have diminished wellness and impaired empathy, which is probably like the complete opposite of why we went into medicine. Aren't 95% of us here to help people? 5% of you aren't. That's okay. It's not okay, actually. If you're not in this to help people, you probably shouldn't be doing this. But 5% of you are in it for other reasons, and you're going to have to work through that on your own. Okay. What do we do about it? This was the first paper published that really looked at shame in medicine. I think it's really going to be a springboard for future look at this. We have to recognize it when you see somebody who you think may be feeling shame. Maybe they got called out on rounds for not knowing something, or got something wrong, or publicly embarrassed in some way. You need to reach out to those people, all right? We need to normalize it, talk about it through conversation, like I just told you about some of my shameful experiences. And then, of course, it needs some further research. All right, another bad word, vulnerability. I already feel awkward talking about vulnerability. I hate it. I already told you I'm a nail biter. I already told you I like craft beer. That's not a bad thing, though, actually. That's not a vulnerable thing. That's a good thing. That tells you how you can all get your way into my residency program is by bringing me craft beer. Just kidding. I don't take bribes. Vulnerability. So you guys know about sea turtles, right? They're all like buried in the sand, right? And then they like emerge from the sand, and then they have to take this treacherous walk over to the ocean, during which time all these predators are swooping down to eat them, right? From the moment they come out of there. You guys know it. That's vulnerability. Vulnerability means capable of being wounded. We all hate being vulnerable because we all want to be strong, right? We're doctors. We care for people. We come in and we save their lives at a critical time. We're human. Sorry. This is the one other thing I'm going to read to you real quick. So this is just a quote. This Colleen Farrell, she's also on Twitter. There's good stuff on there. I know you guys are all into Snapchat and Instagram, but there's also good stuff on Twitter. Just trust me. I'm going to read you this quote. She actually gave, it's an excerpt from a speech she gave at the Harvard Medical School graduation a couple of years ago. She was diagnosed with depression during her 3rd year of medical school. And I think this whole, I was going to just do this snippet, but the whole thing's just great. So this is Colleen Farrell. After my 3rd year of medical school, I was diagnosed with depression. The research published by our own classmates and faculty shows that greater than 1 in 4 medical students have the symptoms of depression. The experience itself can be painfully isolating. In my new role as a patient, I told my story, and I said out loud, "This hurts, and I don't know what to do." It was scary, just like it's a little scary telling you the story today. But I learned that my vulnerability was rich, fertile soil for my own healing and growth, for forging more meaningful relationships, and for gaining a deeper understanding of my patients. This next stage of our training will be incredibly exciting. She was talking to a graduating class. We will step out of this extended dress rehearsal and take on the responsibility of caring for patients. In addition to providing excellent care to our patients, many of us will make important contributions to research, health policy, global health, or social justice. But at the risk of being a downer on graduation day, we will also face challenges. There will be the daily struggles of sleep deprivation and feeling like we don't know enough. Many of us will deal with family illness, personal loss, and yes, depression. We may wonder if we're cut out for the heavy responsibility of medicine. In these moments, I hope we will embrace our vulnerability and share whatever is troubling us with each other, our friends, and our families. The alternatives, silence and isolation, might feel safer in the moment, but in the long run keep us from growing into our best selves. Just as importantly, I hope when our colleagues and students open up to us about their struggles, that we recognize their vulnerability for what it is, not weakness, but courage. I really believe that when we take care of ourselves and each other in this way, we are so much better equipped to care for our patients. Our patients will come to us with challenges far beyond what many of us will ever experience. Our patients will be wounded not just by disease, but also by trauma and neglect, marginalization and inequality. As physicians, we will be in the unique position to see our patients' vulnerability and help transform it into healing. To do that well, we need to see that we are not fundamentally different from our patients. We are all human, and therefore all vulnerable, and that is a powerful, beautiful thing. So I read that and I thought, man, I can't really say that any better, so I'm just going to read her stuff. Wasn't that great? I mean, that's real. That's real. And I think it's really fantastic. So, all right, so now we've talked about some bad words. Scarcity, the not enough problem, which is rooted in shame, in disengagement, and in comparison to others. We've talked about shame itself a little bit more in depth. We've talked about vulnerability, but I want to start shifting our focus because I'm done with the Debbie Downer portion of the talk, and I want to start talking about the sunrise, all right? So back to eudaimonia. How are we going to get ourselves to be our best version? Because we know that the best version of ourselves helps us take care of our patients in the best way, right? When we are our best, we can provide the best, and then they can be their best. How can we give that to them? And there's been some recent work. This is kind of a new topic in medicine. How many of you have heard about a growth mindset? Got a couple people in here. Good. All right. That's awesome. So mindset, you probably all understand, is the implicit or explicit system of belief about yourself and others. And there was a book written in 2006 by a psychologist, I think at Stanford, I want to say, Carol Dweck, and she writes about the growth mindset. So people inherently tend to have a little bit of a mindset. They can have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset is on the right-hand side here. People that are a fixed mindset tend to feel that their intelligence, their gifts, their talents, everything is sort of fixed. This is just who I am. I'm this smart or that smart. I'm good at dancing or I'm not. I bite my nails or I don't. Everything's just sort of binary. I'm this or I'm that. People with a growth mindset say, I'm not there yet. This is kind of who I am, but I'm not here yet. I'm growing. I'm changing. I'm learning from my mistakes. Failure is an opportunity. Challenges help me grow. I like to try new things, whereas the fixed mindset is this is just who I am. I can't really change it. This is just me. And there are some things that are true. Like, I'm never going to be a good dancer, and I'm okay with that. Like, that's fine. It actually has a lot of science behind it as well. So in 2011, they actually looked at event potential, something like that. I don't remember the science behind it, but basically it showed that if you take people that have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset and then you have them make a mistake, what happens to their brain afterwards? And this is supposed to, with all these fancy colors, prove to you that it's better to have a growth mindset, all right? The brain's actually more active afterwards. It's growing because you're okay with failure, because you see it as just part of your natural progression. So how does this factor into medical education and into how you look at setback and failure? Well, if you have a fixed mindset, my intelligence is just how it is. Some people have an awesome brain. Some people have like an average brain. I'm just sort of like this brain. This is just how I work. You want to look smart because you think that that's the whole goal, is to look smart. You want to avoid challenges, obstacles, effort. Effort is just pointless. I'm not going to try harder. I'm not ever going to understand this Krebs cycle. I'm going to ignore criticism. In fact, I'm probably going to get defensive when I get criticized because they're just criticizing me. It's an attack on my character, right? And I feel threatened by the success of others, like the girl who brought the stickers to the pediatrics rotation. Still bummed about it. Versus this, a growth mindset. Intelligence can be developed. I want to learn. I embrace challenges. I persist in the face of obstacles. I see effort as a path to mastery. I want criticism because it helps me grow. And criticism is kind of a bad term, but I want feedback, right? If I don't know where I can have opportunities for improvement, I'm never going to get better. And I'm learning from others. I watch how instead of being jealous of her bringing the stickers and blaming myself for not doing it, I'm thinking about, man, that was a really great thing to do. I bet those patients really like that. I wonder how I can do that, to help a patient sometime. So mindset. So it's easy to see how we can apply this to intelligence and education because you're constantly comparing yourselves to others and board scores, blah, 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 blah. But what if growth mindset and well-being had a baby? And no one's done this before. This has never been done in a test tube or anywhere else. No one's ever taken a growth mindset and well-being and like played romantic music, went to the Sybaris, and had a baby. All right? So we're going to try to do that today because this has never been done before and I feel like being crazy. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to do this in terms of your personal well-being, because I believe that when you are your most well, you can be the best doctor, and being the best doctor means you're best for the patients, right? And I'm in this business to take care of patients and to teach you all how to do that well. That's what motivates me. This is some work that I do with my residents and my faculty, actually. You have to really know yourself. Know who you are and be okay with who you are. it's not really a fixed mindset thing. I mean, we are kind of who we are inherently in some ways. We also can grow and change and mold and diversify. Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because we need people who have come alive. I love that. But know yourself. So here's what we do at St. V's. So every resident, when they start at one of our programs in internal medicine or transitional year, or when they're going from like first to second year, or second to third year, every one of our faculty members, every new academic year, I have them do a well-being needs assessment. And it's a big matrix of questions and things, and it's really designed just to get them thinking about themselves. When you think about your well-being, there are actually 10 subdomains. And so if I were to ask you, what makes you well? And people are like, oh, I need to exercise and sleep. Okay. And, there's way more to it, people. So I want you to all get your phones out and take a picture of this slide. When I gave this talk about a week ago down in Myrtle Beach, I had papers and had them actually fill out their own well-being inventory. But I don't want to take up the 15 minutes to do that right now, but I want you to take a picture of this because I want you to do this later. I just gave you homework. Because what you need to be firing on all cylinders has to do with all of these different 10 domains. We have to kind of feel that we're doing all those well. So socially, what are your social needs? Do you need time with friends and people? Or are you a little bit more of a loner? Are you extroverted, introverted, ambiverted? Whatever, extroverted? Occupationally, what type of environment do you thrive in? And this is particularly important as you're thinking about residency programs. Big environment, small environment, family feel, more isolationist. I'm not sure who would choose that, but maybe somebody would. What type of environment do I need? Spiritually, what are my needs? Physically, what are my needs? For some people, it's exercise. For some people, it's not. Okay, we understand. Intellectually, what kind of stimulation do you need intellectually? How about emotionally? What kind of support do you need? Family, friends, type of environment? Financially, that's kind of a tricky one for all of you in here right now. Sorry. You will someday climb out of the hole, promise. Don't promise. But yeah, I think you probably will. Mentally, what do I need? And then medically, what do I need? So think about what are all the different things that I need, and then you have to reevaluate it, because then life throws you a curveball. Then your mom gets sick, or then you break your leg, or then you have a baby, or then whatever happens, and you have to reassess it. So I would say every 6 months or so, you need to kind of think through this and do kind of a personal inventory. It's amazing to me how many people, when we do this as an exercise in residency, they've never done anything like this before. They've never actually had a conversation with themselves about who they are and what they need to be happy and well. It's kind of crazy, right? Know yourself. At risk of being vulnerable, this is mine. And this changes. This is what it was when I did this talk last week or whatever. All right, so socially, I'm an ambivert. I'm equal parts social and need time to myself. So I'm going to be all social with you all today, and then I'm going to drive home with my noise-canceling headphones and not talk to anybody. I worked this past weekend. I'm on day, 10 or something of work right now. But on Monday morning, I didn't have to go into the hospital. It was my admin switch day, and I went in the afternoon. But in the morning, I laid in my bed with headphones on and watched 3 episodes of The Mindy Project on Netflix or Hulu or something. It was stupid, but it was brilliantly stupid, and I loved it. And now I feel like a totally awesome person. Okay, occupationally, what do I need with my job? I need to feel valued. I don't really just want to be a cog in the wheel. I can't operate like that. I need to feel valued and tied to the work that I do and the place that I am and believe in who they are, what they bring. I need to not feel boxed in. That's why I went into internal medicine. I told you I don't love internal medicine. It's fine. It's worked out, and I'm really happy with my career choice now. But the main reason I love it is because I don't feel boxed in. I can always just be like, I'm out, go work on a cruise ship. That works too. I like having options. Remember I told you, urologist, it's like scrotum all day, all day. I can't do one thing all day. I just got to mix it up. Spiritually, I'm not religious. I don't go to church. It's totally fine if you do. It's great for you, but for me, it doesn't work. But I like to ponder the greater purpose. I'm reading Stephen Hawking's book right now. I don't know. You got to have some of that. Physically, exercise for me is really important. I was a 3-sport athlete and walked onto my college volleyball team, and I need that. When I don't exercise, my mental health suffers. So I exercise, but you don't have to. It's all up to you. I need sleep. I'm not a good sleeper. This is something I'm working on. It's growth mindset. You have to retrain your body to sleep. I need affection in the right amounts. Like, I want to be touched by my children and my husband, but not too much, and only when I'm interested in being touched. So I don't want to be overly touched. Intellectually, I need lots of stimulation with periods of mindless garbage, hence the Mindy Kaling Mindy Project. But I need, like, I'll get into these, like, Twitter reading. I'm reading 3 books right now, and then I'll go and watch the Mindy Project. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's me. Whatever. It is who I am. All right, emotionally, I want you all to be mind readers. I want everybody in the world to know exactly what I need at any given time. Yeah, I'm still working on that one. Environmentally, I need lots of light. So this in here, and this is not a lot of light, actually. This is bad. I could never be a radiologist. I like to make radiology jokes, but actually I love radiologists because I am the transition year director, and they're pretty awesome people. I don't like to have a lot of clutter around me. I'm kind of a minimalist, not like Marie Kondo minimalism, but like stuff makes me nervous. And I like to be warm. I'm under a blanket in the summertime. Like it's not enough to just not be cold. Like I need to be warm all the time. Financially, I need to have my needs met. I don't need a lot of money. I don't need to have fancy things. Remember Costco, Kohl's, just normal person here. But I need to have my needs met. Mentally, I need the physical things that I mentioned. And I'm on an SSRI. We talked about that already. I think I've always had a little bit of a tendency towards depression. My parents are both on antidepressants. And I was always like, whatever, they just don't do other good stuff for their bodies. And then I had a baby, and then I had another baby. And I think it was when I was crying on vacation that my husband was like, I don't think this is normal. We're on vacation and you're crying. And so we kind of had a talk and realized, yeah, I think I'm depressed. And I was. So I'm on an SSRI. I told you that already. It's made a lot of difference for me. I don't think you all need to be on SSRI. I think if you have clinical depression, you should be. And I think if you don't, that's fine too. I am. Hopefully I won't always be, but I am for now, and it's fine. And medically, I need like preventive care. I'm otherwise pretty healthy. Professionally, integrity is super important to me. Honesty, doing the right thing. Clearly, I like to apply humor to my work environment. Empathy, compassion, providing high quality care, kindness, being part of a solution, not adding to a problem, and then education is important to me as well. So when you're looking at your life, you then have to take your personal needs and you have to apply them to professional needs. So in your future, talking about this work-life fit, there's a great podcast. If you guys listen to the Curbsiders, Susan Hingle, who's one of my mentors in medical school, she gives a really great podcast about work-life fit. It's not balance. Balance is ridiculous. It's fit. It's making it fit, right? So if your personal needs start to impose upon your professional values, you might have a compromise in the type of care you provide, or be in a situation where you may be forced to or unwittingly participate in things that maybe are not ethical or stick to your moral code. Other side, professionally, sometimes we get so wrapped up in the doctor thing that we kind of forget about like our personal lives and our relationships and what we need to thrive. So it's really about finding a way to make those work together. And that's a constant struggle. Some days I'm like way into the doctor thing and not so much into the mom thing. And some days I'm like all about me and Mindy Kaling and like work can wait. So you're kind of just having to always sort of juggle through that. Okay, so that was, what was that? That was knowing yourself. And I think that's really the most important thing, is just know who you are. All right, self-compassion. Ooh, all right. So this is hard to do because we like to beat ourselves up a lot because we're really type A and we're comparing ourselves to others and shame and guilt, blah, 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 blah. You're okay. All right. Self-compassion is actually the antidote to shame. It helps you with shame resilience. Practicing self-compassion and telling yourself that you're okay. You're fine. You're not like everybody else, but you're just fine. And it actually triggers a growth mindset. So those with greater self-compassion, they're more kind about their own failures. And they recognize that failure is actually part of the normal human experience. So we're normalizing shame. They take a balanced approach to negative emotions, so they're embracing the vulnerability. They're more motivated to improve themselves and to report feelings of authenticity. And authenticity, I think, is really key here. It's not being authentic just for the sake of being authentic. It's being authentic and really being comfortable with who you are and how you fit into the whole world. And you are perfectly imperfect. I am starting to sound like a self-help book, aren't I? All right, be proactive in self-care. So you guys I'm sure you've thought about this before. When you get on a plane, get your own oxygen mask on before you help others with their oxygen mask. Because why? Because if you get hypoxic and you pass out, you can't help your kid. All right? Don't be a doofus. You have to take care of you so you can take care of other people. I had a cardiologist, a very well-known cardiologist. Dr. Taliber probably knows who I'm talking about, up at St. Vincent. who was like, oh, these millennials, it's never good when they start with these millennials. These millennials, they just want to do shift work and they just don't want to work as hard. They're just not as committed to medicine. And I was like, whoa, 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 time out, boyfriend. That's not the problem. They're just as committed. They wouldn't take on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and give up their 20s if they weren't committed to medicine. They just know that to do medicine well, to take care of human beings well and right, they need to have cared for themselves. Am I right? You guys get that, which is why we're in good hands in the future. All right, so be proactive. Find your purpose. I think purpose is really important. So whenever I am like feeling lost and confused and like I'm just all jumbled up and messy, I'm like, but what's my purpose? I'd never seen this quote before, but I think it's pretty awesome. The two most important days in your life, the day you're born and the day you find out why. Pretty awesome. Embracing change. Okay, so this is actually a really important one. So I remember being in your shoes and I was like, okay, when I just get through like past step one, like things will like slow down and calm down. Okay. All right, when I get past graduation, I'm finally in residency, I finally know what the hell I'm doing with my life. It's all gonna work out. When I just get through residency and get that fellowship, it'll be okay. I didn't do a fellowship. When I just get married, when I just have a baby, when I just pay off my mortgage, when I when I win, guess what? You're never gonna get there because just when you get there, something else comes up. It's gonna be constantly changing. This happens in your workplace too. Kevin and I used to work together, Dr. Tolliver and I used to work together. Things were constantly changing, and we all used to sit around and say, we just want some stability. We just want it to be, guess what? That's not the real world, and especially not medicine anymore. I think it maybe used to be a little more like that, but it's not anymore. Healthcare is changing, we're new people, we got life going on. You gotta get comfortable with change. This resiliency talk, the people talk, be more resilient. Whatever, we gotta fix the system. That's your job, you people. But we have to get resilient to change, all right? Change is gonna happen, get comfortable with it. Just have to learn to be nimble and kind of go with the flow here. All right, you're not alone in being a work in progress, we all are. None of us are perfect. We're hopefully becoming more perfect over time, but we're never gonna get there, and that's part of the fun. So you have to reflect all the time on what you're doing, where you're at, think about those 10 subdomains of well-being, adjust, re-reflect, readjust. Constantly motion, getting used to it. The plates are shifting, get comfortable. And then you also have to recognize when it's not normal. So exhaustion, loneliness, isolation, depression, and certainly suicide, those are not normal things, okay? And if they have been normal medicine, they never should have been, and they need to stop being normal medicine. If you are experiencing one of these things, you need to talk and get help. Okay? All right, we're almost done. The big secret. How many of you have watched The Fight Club? It's kind of an older movie now compared to, I mean, you guys are like young pups. Do you guys even know Seinfeld? Okay, whew, all right, whew. The big secret. So what's the first rule of Fight Club? There's no Fight Club. Oh my gosh, guess what? There's no big secret. There's no secret. I don't have some like gem that I'm going to impress upon you today and you're gonna walk out of here and be like, I got this shit figured out. I'm amazing. It's not gonna happen, guys. That's not how the world works. There's no big secret. But you can commit to personal and professional growth. You can adopt a growth mindset. I'm not there yet. I can read EKGs, but not right-sided EKGs yet. I still have to look it up every single time, right-sided EKGs. Okay, every time. I'm just not there yet. Medicine's actually moving this direction. Did you guys know there's a lot of talk about making step one pass-fail? I know all the second years are like, ooh, really? Yeah. Right? Because step one really does not correlate to how great of a doctor you are. So why are we using it as like some sort of a filter marker of how well you're going to be as a doctor? It's ridiculous. Pass-fail makes a lot of sense. We got to make sure you've got enough knowledge to safely take care of humans, but the rest of it you'll kind of acquire over time. Same thing's happening in residency. We're doing competency-based assessments now. Did you guys know about that? So instead of like being like, you either passed the rotation or you didn't, we look at you as a human and we look at you across like 6 different subcompetencies and different milestones for each subcompetency. Can they take a history and physical? Are they a good team player? Can they talk to patients and give an end-of-life talk? Can they interpret laboratories and make a next plan? Can they do good clinical reasoning? They have good clinical reasoning skills. And then you're on a continuum. You're on a scale of 1 to 5, and most people score like in the 1.5 to 2 range when they start. They kind of move through the continuum. Some people are way better at interpersonal skills. Some people are way better at medical knowledge. But everybody's kind of a different variety, and we kind of just move you along according to who you are. Isn't that how it should be? Wouldn't it be nice if we could like take medical school and be like, if you want it to be 6 years, that's fine. We won't charge you anymore. It's like, but if it takes you 6 years to get there, that's fine. If it takes you 5 years to get through residency, that's fine. Just do it on your pace. Get where you need to be. We're all different. But committing to growth is the key. You're on a continuum, you're on a spectrum. All right, and then you'll figure it out, and then you'll figure it out again and again and again and again and again. And this is just life. There's no big secret. You just have to keep figuring it out. All right? I'll probably totally crash and burn tomorrow, and then I'll start figuring it out again. But I feel pretty good right now between the combination of the Greatest Showman soundtrack and a lot of caffeine. All right, so when I was putting this together, it was around Martin Luther King Day, and he's got so many incredible quotes. This one, I think, was kind of pertinent. So if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Let's keep moving forward. Lastly, do you all know why I'm excited? Why I was born in 1980. I'm like a semi-curmudgeonly, not quite millennial, zennial-ish, Gen X maybe person. But I'm excited because I'm sitting here talking to you all about this stuff. And that just gave me goosebumps. We're having this conversation. I'm excited because you are the generation of change, because you guys don't tolerate this BS that we've all been putting up with, not really me, but the people before me have been putting up with and complaining about burnout. Burnout's so ridiculous. Why are we even talking about burnout? Let's just fix the problem, right? Let's be forward thinking. You all will make medicine better. And it's a wonderful and enriching career, but it's not perfect yet. Random references and acknowledgments, which are books, podcasts, and random blogs, and Alvin Calderon, who's one of my friends out at Virginia Mason in Seattle. And that's just what I had to print off so I would remember to read it to you. That's all I got. Questions? We're just having a conversation, so anything's on the table. We got like, what, 2 minutes for questions? I know did I go too long? We okay? Questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
Hi.
Dr. Biggerstaff, what you got, buddy?
So, I'll try to be as vulnerable as I can, although I'm not as comfortable as you are. But when I sat in this seat as a medical student, first of all, no one would have offered me. Thank you. Secondly, I don't know if I would have received the message as well as I do now. Testament to me working on my mental health for years. But in that time, my mind was so narrow and I was emotionally immature. I almost would have been like, oh my God, she's got it figured out. And well, she's already graduated, so she's already done all this stuff. Or I would have been like, oh crap, they're gonna make the boards pass fail, which I failed. Like, that's where my mind would have went. I just know it. And so I don't really know if I have any questions. I'm just sitting in this room making some of those feelings come back. And I guess it's just a lifelong process. Even if you do fail at board, so many other things you can do. Journey, just like you said. So I just wanted to share that.
It is. No, and I think that's a valuable perspective. And I think that there probably are people in the room who may feel like that right now. And that's okay. But it's so weird too, because like, trying to give you an inspirational message that I wish I would have heard back in medical school, but the reality is you're in medical school and you are being graded compared to your peers and I understand there's like life going on. Maybe something to take away is to embrace the personal growth that goes along with the professional growth. And see that, I always tell my interns that are doing the transitional year, though this year isn't just about learning how to put in orders and assess a septic patient and whatever. This year is about like growing as a human and learning how you deal with adversity, learning how you respond to sadness, figuring out who you want to be as a physician and a human. So I think a take home would just be, I want you all to feel comfort in knowing that we all felt like that when we were in your shoes, and we don't have it all figured out now. Every day is some sort of a dumpster fire. Depends on what's burning, but every day is a mess, and you just got to keep figuring it out. And lean on those of us who have been through it to help you through it. Because the people in this room want to have these conversations with you and want to be real with you and open with you and vulnerable with you so that you know you're not alone. you're going to get through it, and we're glad that you are committed to this journey because the future is going to be better because of it. Well, that may not be an answer to your non-question. It was some really good, like, random thoughts. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Dr. Fick.